If you're on a budget and you're looking for a fantastic full frame camera that can be used for photography, video recording, and live streaming, then the Nikon D600 is the camera for you. For only under $500, this camera is going to blow your mind. What's up guys, my name is Sam from Live Production Tips and Tools, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, consider subscribing and let's navigate the live streaming world together. My friend has been using this Nikon D600 camera, which is almost a 10 years old camera from Nikon. After seeing the quality of pictures that the camera was taking, it actually caught my attention, and I started looking into specs and I wanted to know more about the camera. It turns out that it was a full frame camera from Nikon, and the camera can actually record video for up to 30 frames per second in full HD, and it has a clean HDMI, even though it's not perfect yet for live streaming. So in this video, I'm gonna give you few reasons why you may need to consider this camera, especially in 2021 or 2022 if you are on a budget. Reason number one, obviously, is gonna be the fact that this camera is full frame. Well, being full frame, it means that you're gonna get a very good performance in low light, and you're gonna be able to get a nice and dope blurry background or a shallow depth of field. So this is gonna be a good thing, especially if you are into pro photography and videography. Reason number two why you should consider this camera is the price. The price of this camera is now obviously is gonna be a used. I don't know if you can find it brand new because it's an old camera, but you can find it for under $500 on eBay, and I think this is a great price, especially for a camera like this that can do what it does. And my reason number three is gonna be the photography capabilities of this camera. This camera has a full frame sensor. It also has a 24.3 megapixels resolution, and that's gonna give you really nice crispy looking pictures. And again, I'm gonna show you some samples on screen and let me know what you guys think. But we have been using it actually as our main photography camera in our business. I actually tried to compare it to the Canon 5D Mark III, and I actually feel like picture wise this camera beats the Canon 5D Mark III, you know. Plus the 5D, I believe it only has 22.3 megapixels, and this one has few pixels ahead of the 5D Mark III, and you can actually see it when you see or you compare the pictures from both cameras. Now the reason number four that I believe actually you need to get this camera for 2021 or 2022 is gonna be the fact that this camera can be actually used for recording videos. Yes, the camera can record up to 30 frames per second in 1080p, and that's actually something good. It does not have an image stabilization, so if you are using it handheld, again, depending on the focal length you're using, you're probably not gonna get the most stable image. But if you're using it on a tripod or with a gimbal, then you should be good. The camera has also autofocus, even though it's not perfect, but it does work if you're taking pictures. Actually, it does work really well for pictures. For video, it's not super wow, but it's usable. So you can use this camera for YouTube videos, you can use it for any other social media content creation, and you can actually use this camera for creating interview style videos as well. It does have a mic jack and a headphones jack, so you'll be able to monitor your audio and you'll be able to plug in your microphone for recording videos. Reason number five is the fact that this camera can actually be used for live stream, even though I still believe it's not perfect. I have tested it and it does have a clean HDMI and it sends 1080p to your computer for OBS or any other live streaming software. And you're gonna need a mini HDMI converter because it has a mini HDMI output. And once you have that converter, you should be able to connect it to any capture card and be able to live stream using any streaming software. you actually be able to use autofocus while live streaming, which is a good thing, even though the autofocus is not super wow, but it's kind of usable. Reason number 6 is the fact that it's a Nikon F mount camera, so it's gonna be very easy to find lenses. You can easily find cheap used Nikon lenses for the camera, but at the same time you'll be able to find any powerful lenses from Nikon or any other brand like Sigma. So like lens option is not gonna be a problem for a Nikon mount. In fact, I've got some lenses that we have actually we use with this camera, and one of the lenses that we have that I wanted to show you guys is a Sigma 24 to 70 mm lens, 2.8 maximum aperture. It's a fantastic lens. This is like our main lens for this camera. At the same time, we're trying to get another Sigma lens, a 70 to 200 2.8, especially to get the gorgeous portraits with the blurry background. That lens is gonna be fantastic. At the same time, we have another cheap lens from Nikon as well, and this is a 1.8 lens maximum aperture, and this is very useful as well for taking portraits. Another lens that we have is a Nikon AF Nikkor 24 mm focal length, maximum aperture 2.8, and we use this lens for taking wide angles pictures, and that's mainly what we have so far. So I know I just talked about the good things about the camera, but at the same time I want to talk about things that you may consider before buying. If you think you're gonna use this camera mainly for video, I don't think this camera is for you. I feel like this camera has its strength mostly for taking pictures because of the resolution. 24.3 megapixels is really good, and the fact that it's full frame and the pictures are really good and amazing. And as for video, I feel like the color science from Nikon in this camera is not that wow. Of course, it's gonna give you decent image, but I wouldn't say that this should be your main camera for recording videos or live streaming. Another reason why I feel like you may not consider this camera is the fact that it doesn't have image stabilization. And another thing, of course, for recording video is that this camera is really too old. So if you are into things like flip out screen, vlogging, Wi-Fi capabilities, you're not gonna have this from this camera. So you understand it's a 10-year-old camera, so those newer juicy features from the newer cameras you will not find from this particular camera. The last thing I will say about this camera, again mostly for video, is the fact that you have a record limit of 30 minutes or 20 minutes depending on which format you are recording in, and the fact that you can only record 30 frames per second in full HD. You cannot record 60 frames per second unless you record in 720p. But also the fact that I feel like this camera video wise is not future proof, because now newer cameras can record in 4K and it's becoming like a standard. However, again, my personal opinion, I feel like this camera is worth considering right now in 2021 and 2022. If you are going to be using it mainly for pictures, this camera is going to blow your mind. If you are into getting good cameras on the budget, I've done a couple of videos that you may like. I've actually done a video about the Canon 5D Mark III, which is another old camera under $1,000 that will give you amazing results. So make sure you check it out. I'll put it at the end of this video. Other than that, I thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I will see you on my next video. Take care.